What's up everyone, this is Mitchell Mander here, coming at you with another review of Pokemon 2019. Today I'm going to be covering episode 18, which involves Ash facing off against the substitute Vermilion City gym leader, Pisces. Or Pisces. Not really sure, the subs actually gave her a B in front of her name, so we're just going to go with Pisces, which was on the original translation. And this episode is actually really good, despite the fact that Lieutenant Surge is gone. I'm still a little disappointed in that, however, this episode didn't make up for that, as it was a pretty impressive episode, and there is a chance that Lieutenant Surge could show up at some point in the future. But we'll get into that in the review. Anyways, if you like this type of content, be sure to like and subscribe as I cover the Pokemon 2019 series on a weekly basis, as long as the episodes come out. Anyways, on to the review. This episode begins with Ash signing up for the Pokemon World Championships, and I have to say, I actually really like this concept. It's actually really neat. I like how the fact of the matter is, you could be a Pokemon trainer, you could be a gym leader, you could even be an Elite Four member, or even a champion, like Ash is. It doesn't matter. Everybody that enters this Pokemon World Championships has to start from the bottom and make their way up in the ranks. So it's gonna, like, if you start off, it doesn't matter what title you are. You gotta start at the bottom and just work your way up, no matter how long it takes. And I like this concept. That means anybody that Ash faces could be somebody that's he could be facing someone that's Elite Four level that's right above him or below him. I like it. It actually adds a bit of tension here because we could see Ash actually losing his balance in the future and he falls down the ratings. Anyways, I like how that's established. But anyways, we find out that Renji basically tells Ash, and Professor Sakuragi also tells him that, yeah, this first match is very vital. It depending on if you win or lose, affects how you're going to do in the rankings. So if you lose this match, you're going to have a hard time, Ash. So you better win this one. But Renji notes that if you fight somebody with a high rank right away, you're going to fly up in the rankings. So Ash looks up on his phone, which I guess is just pre-installed on his phone to look up trainers in the area that are part of the World Pokemon Championships or participants. And that's when he finds out about Pisces, which is a substitute gym leader at the Vermilion City Gym, as Lieutenant Surge is out now training to perfect Pokemon battles. So he's out of the picture now. So we actually cut to the Vermilion City Gym. There's a gym battle going on, and Pisces defeats the gym trainer, but she actually really wants to face somebody in the Pokemon World Championships, which happens to be Ash. Ash and Go head off to the Vermilion City Gym, and Reboot is doing the Naruto run. Reboot's actually kind of reminding me of a cross between Kakashi and Sasuke. It's pretty interesting, but yep, he's totally doing the Naruto run. Anyways, Go and Reboot head off to catch a Spearow, whereas Ash heads straight to the Vermilion City Gym. Now I have to say, I actually really like the scene before the battle occurred with Ash meeting Pisces, and she pretty much tells him, yeah, I actually know who you are. Surge actually spoke about you, a trainer from Pallet Town, overcoming all the odds against himself to win the gym battle, earning the Vermilion City Gym badge. So it's actually a really nice continuity nod, minus Surge that is, so more on that later. Anyways, I guess a Rotom helicopter drone thingy actually hosts these matchups in the Pokemon Championships. So we'll probably see more of this thing in the future. It's kind of a little bit annoying, but as of right now, it's okay. But we'll probably see more of it in the future. Anyways, yeah, this battle was awesome from front to back, and it has to be one of my favorite looking battles, at least non-league battles, since X and Y. Juane actually animated the entire episode, so you know it's gonna look good. Anyways, we start with Pikachu versus Raichu, which, unfortunately, this one was a bit short, but both trainers were actually using some pretty good strategies here. For example, Ash actually used Iron Tail to hold off Raichu's tackle to gain electricity on the ground. That was pretty cool, but the battle goes back and forth between Pikachu and Raichu before Ash actually recalls Pikachu. And Ash ends up bringing Gengar out instead, who pretty much destroys Raichu. He pretty much has an absolute advantage over him. He's very tricky and tricks Raichu throughout the battle, and using moves like Ice Punch, for example, and ends up slamming Raichu against the wall in a very funny fashion. So Raichu's out of the picture, and that's when Electrode is actually brought in. And now Go actually notes there's a bunch of markings on the wall, and this actually comes into play because Pisces actually has a strategy. It seems like it's her ultimate weapon here, her ultimate strategy, in which Electrode has a little bit of an interesting ability here to rise up the ground and some electro levitation thingy, causing the pieces of the ground to rise up. Basically, this is used to mainly counter ground type attacks, because a lot of people use that on electric moves or electric Pokemon. So this is mainly used for that, but this actually could be used for Pokemon levitating, like Gengar, for example, which this proves to be a major problem for Ash, as Electrode pretty much just bounces off all the rocks and then the wall, eventually the walls, which is a bunch of imprints on the walls, and Go realizes what's going on. This thing's using it to its advantage to take out Pokemon that are levitating in the air, and yeah, Gengar pretty much gets destroyed at this point, unfortunately. But he did pretty good in this battle, taking out Raichu so easily. So Pikachu is brought back in. And it looks at first like Ash is probably going to lose this match, as Electrode in this strategy, it's just too much. Even Go notes, yeah, at this rate, Ash, you're going to lose this match. And it looks like it seems like all hope is lost, but then Ash, using his unpredictable battle style, actually has Pikachu jump on top of Electrode to use Iron Tail, and stops Electrode, knocks it backwards, and manages to gain the upper hand on Electrode, eventually hitting it in the air. However, it triggers self-destruct due to its nature and its ability. However, at the last minute, Ash commands Pikachu to use Electro Web on itself, using it as a shield to protect itself. As Electrode faints, Ash is declared the winner of the battle. This episode comes to an end with Ash actually finding out from his phone that he ranked up big time. He went from like under 10,000 to rank 3,763. And Pisces, on the other hand, she's freaking out and wondering what Surge is going to think of this, because it doesn't show what she ranks down to, but clearly losing to somebody that just started out probably had to bring her down quite a bit. So, yeah, funny way to end the episode. So overall, this was a very enjoyable episode. I think we all can agree that the battle was awesome. I think we all like a little bit of strategy in our Pokemon battles. And I also like the fact that Ash was using his unpredictable battle strategy throughout the episode. And also Pisces, she was using a lot of good strategies as well. Especially her in-game ultimate attack was pretty awesome to see. It's a little different, and the animation there was pretty awesome and on point. So there's no complaints from me coming from the battle. It was overall pretty awesome. And again, we all like a little bit of strategy in our Pokemon battles, and we like Ash getting into it. And he was being Ash in this episode, and a lot of the movements that he makes in the episode and the fists that he makes as he's making his commands, he's getting into it. And when he's into it, that's when you know Ash is going to do very well in these Pokemon battles. Now I gotta say, if you saw my episode 17 through 20 discussion video, you'll know that I was pretty displeased with the fact that Ash wasn't facing off against Lieutenant Surge. Instead, we got, as I called it, bootleg Surge and Pisces, which I'm still a little off-put by that, since this episode establishes that it doesn't matter if you're a normal trainer, gym leader, whatever. Anybody that enters the Pokemon World Championships is basically treated the same. Just gotta rank up. So they could have easily had Ash face off against Lieutenant Surge in this episode. But I will say, the end of this episode seems to indicate that Ash may possibly face off against Lieutenant Surge in the future of this series, maybe? So I will forgive this episode if that happens, because that's actually building up to a potential rematch between Ash and Lieutenant Surge in the future, especially if he's shown to have grown a lot stronger since their first battle, or their second battle, I should say. Now, it's very subtle, and this wasn't really a major focus in the episode, as it was more so in the background, but I did kind of enjoy some of the scenes with Reboot in this episode, as Reboot's still pretty edgy and moody from what happened in the previous episode, and Reboot kind of tries to do things on its own. However, it still seems to retain some traits from when it was a Scorbunny, as when Ash and Pikachu won the battle, it was shown to be very happy and was glad, but went back to its edgy nature when Pikachu went up to talk to it, and it was, yep, I'm not going to acknowledge you. But it secretly does. Now, the only real negative thing that I have to say about this episode really has to do with Go catching Spearow in this episode, as it was done off screen and kind of just out of nowhere. I know that Go is catching all these Pokemon, but personally I don't think it should have been done off screen, even if it was a quick capture. Not really a big fan of it being placed in this episode, and I personally think they should have just omitted it, and maybe just waited to the next episode for him to capture a new Pokemon. So overall, a very solid episode with great animation, a great battle, and great strategies. So I'm going to give this episode a 9 out of 10. So guys out there, what did you think of this episode? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Post your thoughts in the comment section down below. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'll talk to you all later. And stay safe out there, wherever you're at. This virus thing is affecting everyone, so just stay at home, wash your hands, do whatever, and have a great day, everyone.